Amara loved sunsets. From the earliest days she could remember, the sight of the sun dipping below the horizon filled her with a sense of wonder and longing. It wasn't just the colors that drew her in, the fiery oranges, the soft pinks, the deepening purples, but the feeling that each sunset was a secret message written just for her, a promise that something beautiful always waited at the end of the day. She watched the sky with a devotion that felt sacred, as if the act of witnessing the sun's descent was a ritual only she truly understood. Every evening, as the world slowed and shadows stretched across her small coastal town, Amara would pause whatever she was doing and turn her face to the west, heart pounding with anticipation. Each evening, she'd perch on the fire escape or the old pier, sketchbook in hand, chasing the sun's final blaze. Sometimes, she'd balance on the rickety railing, legs swinging, the salty breeze tangling her hair as she tried to capture the fleeting colors before they faded. Her fingers would move quickly, sketching the shifting clouds and the way the light danced on the water, desperate to hold on to the magic for just a little longer. For her, sunsets were promises, whispers of a world beyond her small coastal town. They were reminders that the world was vast and full of possibility, that there were places she had yet to see, and adventures waiting just beyond the horizon. As the sun slipped away, Amara would close her eyes and imagine herself traveling to distant lands, following the sun from one breathtaking view to the next. Her sketches were maps of hope, each drawing a rebellion against the stillness of her life. The pages of her worn sketchbook overflowed with sunsets, some wild and stormy, others calm and golden. Each one was a dream, a wish, a silent promise to herself that she would not always be confined to the same streets and routines. With every stroke of her pencil, she built a world where anything was possible. Amara's mother, Elena, would find these drawings scattered across the kitchen table or tucked under Amara's pillow. With a tired but loving smile, she'd gather them up, smoothing the crumpled edges with gentle hands. "One day, Mia, you'll see all those sunsets for real," she promised, her voice soft but certain, as if she could will the future into being with her words alone. Elena understood the age, yearning for something more. Amara clung to that promise, her dreams as vast as the She carried her sketchbook everywhere, pressing it to her chest like a shield against disappointment. In quiet moments, she'd flip through the pages, tracing the lines of her favorite sunsets, reminding herself that the world was bigger than her fears, and that hope could be found in the simplest of things: a splash of color, a mother's gentle words, the endless sky. The sunsets were her escape, her future waiting just beyond the horizon. Each evening, as the last light faded and the stars began to appear, Amara whispered her dreams to the sky. She'd follow the sun wherever it led, and finally discover the world she'd always imagined. Amara's world was a small apartment above the laundromat, life set to the hum of machines and the scent of detergent. Elena, her mother, worked tirelessly. Love shone in folded laundry and warm meals. Amara's sanctuary was a corner for drawing, her art a quiet rebellion against routine. At night, the silence after the last spin cycle made her dreams feel urgent, her art the melody of a future she longed for. The rhythm of machines was her present, but her heart beat for distant horizons. School was chaos, a swirling mass of voices, laughter, and hurried footsteps echoing off the lockers. Every morning, the halls filled with a tidal wave of students, each one swept up in their own dramas and dreams, barely noticing the faces around them. The noise was overwhelming, the energy relentless, and for someone like Amara, it was easy to feel lost in the crowd. But Amara moved through it quietly, almost invisible, her presence barely registering to those who rushed past. She kept her head down, clutching her books to her chest, careful not to draw attention. She was the kind of girl who slipped between the cracks, unnoticed by most, content to observe rather than participate. Only Chloe, her vibrant, outspoken friend, truly saw her. Chloe was a burst of color in Amara's grayscale world, always laughing, always talking, always pulling Amara into the light. Where others overlooked her, Chloe made her feel seen, important, and understood. Chloe's laughter and belief in Amara's dreams were a lifeline. She had a way of making even the most ordinary moments feel special, of turning a dull lunch break into an adventure. When Amara doubted herself, Chloe was there with encouragement, reminding her that her dreams mattered. Amara shared her sketches only with Chloe, trusting her with the secret worlds she created on paper. Chloe would pore over each drawing, her eyes wide with excitement, and say things like, "You'll send me a postcard from Paris one day." It was a promise, a hope, and a challenge all at once. One that made Amara believe, if only for a moment, that anything was possible. At home, Amara carried the weight of responsibility. She helped with chores, managed the household budget, and made sure her family never went without. She never asked for more than they could afford, always putting others' needs before her own. The dream she shared with Chloe felt distant in the face of bills and obligations, but Chloe's words lingered in her mind, a quiet encouragement. Her friendship with Chloe was a breath of fresh air, a reminder that life could be more than struggle. With Chloe, she could let go, laugh until her sides hurt, and imagine a future that wasn't defined by limitations. Their moments together were precious, a sanctuary from the pressures of home and school. In Chloe's company, Amara glimpsed a world beyond bills and laundromats. They would sit together, daydreaming about art schools, faraway cities, and the adventures they'd have someday. Chloe made the impossible seem just a little more real, and with her, Amara dared to hope for more. Their friendship was her anchor, a steady presence in the storm of adolescence, a bond that gave her strength to keep going, and a reminder that even in the most crowded hallway, a single true friend could make all the difference. The library was Amara's refuge, but one evening her walk home changed everything. She sensed a presence behind her, fear prickling her skin. Quickening her pace, she was grabbed and dragged into a dark alley, her sketchbook scattered, her mind detached, focusing on a crack in the wall to survive the horror. When it was over, she was left alone, shattered in the darkness. The world she knew had collapsed in an instant. The sky had fallen, and she was buried beneath its weight. Amara lay in the alley, numb and broken, before forcing herself home. She scrubbed her skin raw in the shower, desperate to erase the memory. In the days that followed, silence consumed her. She stopped speaking, stopped drawing, closed herself off from the world. Her sketchbook was hidden away, sunsets now unbearable reminders of what she'd lost. At school and home, she became a ghost, her vibrant spirit replaced by emptiness. The assault had stolen her voice, her art, her very self. She was trapped in a prison of guilt and shame, her silence screaming louder than words. The change in Amara was a growing chasm. Chloe felt the wall go up. Lunches grew silent, friendships strained. Amara avoided Chloe, unable to let her light touch the darkness inside. Her mother noticed too, the uneaten food, the absence of art, the closed door. Elena tried to reach her, but Amara's answers were flat, her retreat complete. The silence in their home became suffocating, signaling a storm neither could name. Both Chloe and Elena stood outside the wall Amara had built, desperate to help, but unable to find a way in. The unseen wall was nearly impenetrable. The breaking point came one quiet afternoon. Elena, folding laundry, gently asked Amara what was wrong. The simple touch shattered Amara's control. Tears and anguish poured out. Elena held her, offering comfort without questions. Slowly, Amara told her mother about the night, the alley, the pain and shame. Each word was agony, but Elena listened, her heart breaking. When Amara finished, Elena looked her in the eyes. This was not your fault. Not your fault. In that moment, a crack of light pierced Amara's darkness. The first step toward healing had begun. The next day, Elena took Amara to the police. Amara told her story again, the details blurred by trauma. The investigation led nowhere. The attacker vanished, justice out of reach. The silence from the police was a second wound, the world's indifference a bitter lesson. But Elena's resolve only grew. The world may not give you justice, so we'll find our own way to heal. Together, they would search for their own light. Elena had spent weeks searching for help, feeling lost in a maze of uncertainty and fear. One afternoon, she stumbled upon a flyer for free counseling at a local community center. The building itself was unassuming, but as she watched people from all walks of life enter its doors, she felt a flicker of hope. Inside, the atmosphere was warm and inviting, a stark contrast to the cold isolation she'd felt for so long. The receptionist greeted her with a gentle smile, and for the first time in months, Elena sensed she might not have to face her struggles alone. At her first session, Amara, nervous and withdrawn, barely spoke a word. The silence in the room was heavy, but her therapist, Maria, didn't rush her. Instead, Maria simply sat across from her, offering a steady, patient presence. She understood that trust couldn't be forced, and that sometimes, the most powerful support was simply being there, waiting for the right moment. Over the next few weeks, Amara began to open up, little by little. She spoke of her pain, her confusion, and the dreams that haunted her sleep. She described the night that changed everything, her voice trembling as she relived the memories she'd tried so hard to bury. Maria listened without judgment, creating a safe space where Amara's story could finally be heard. Sensing that words alone might not be enough, Maria introduced Amara to new tools for healing. One day, she gently slid a blank sketchbook across the table, along with a set of colored pencils. "Sometimes drawing can help us express what we can't say out loud," she suggested. Amara hesitated, but curiosity and a quiet longing to be understood drew her in. Her first drawing was raw and honest, a storm of black lines swirling across the page, capturing the chaos inside her. It wasn't pretty, but it was real. For Amara, it was a beginning, a way to give shape to feelings she couldn't yet name. Each stroke was a small act of courage, a step toward reclaiming her voice. Art soon became Amara's lifeline. Through drawing and painting, she found a way to process her pain, to explore not just the darkness but also the glimmers of hope that began to emerge. Her sketchbook filled with images, some angry, some sad, some unexpectedly beautiful. Each page was a testament to her journey, a visual diary of survival and transformation. The months passed, marked by therapy sessions, difficult conversations, and slow, sometimes painful steps forward. There were setbacks and days when progress felt impossible, but Amara kept showing up. With Maria's guidance, she learned to face her fears, to set boundaries, and to believe that healing was possible, even if it came slowly, one day at a time. After nearly a year, Amara found the courage to reach out to Chloe, her closest friend. Their reunion was filled with nervous energy. Amara's hands shook as she prepared to share her truth. But she knew that honesty was the next step in her healing, no matter how vulnerable it made her feel. As Amara spoke, Chloe listened with open arms and an open heart. When the words finally spilled out, Chloe embraced her, holding her tightly as tears flowed freely. In that moment, the wall Amara had built around herself began to crumble, replaced by the warmth of true connection and understanding. Supported by love and friendship, Amara felt the first warmth of a new dawn. Her scars, once a source of shame, became a testament to her survival, a reminder of how far she'd come. Though her journey was far from over, she now faced the future with hope, knowing that her story was just beginning, and that every step forward was a victory worth celebrating.